Hello again, everybody. It's Jim Hickey, also known as @Bass Fishing Tips on Twitter, here today with another quick video on a tip that you can use for the upcoming 2016 season. One of the new techniques that I started really using last season was the Ned rig, and you might have heard a lot about the Ned rig over the last couple of years. It's a finesse presentation that comes out of the Midwest Finesse group. It involves using a mushroom or bullet type style jig head on very light line and some sort of short stubby worm, usually a piece or a small short stick bait. And when it's fished appropriately, anything from do nothing to several different types of retrieves, it can be very, very effective on bass. As a matter of fact, my first fish last year, a 15.5-inch smallie, came on a dead sticked Ned rig. Now, what exactly does this thing look like? Well, this is what it looks like here. So if let me get this so you can see it better. The bullet or mushroom type style bait, short piece of worm. Now, if you use most short, soft stick baits, they come pre-salted because people want them to sink. And that's actually a disadvantage when you're trying to work this rig, because one of the beauties of this rig is when this thing hits the bottom, and if the plastic is constructed correctly, the tail will float up naturally off the bottom and be very enticing to the fish as it's just kind of sitting there waggling in their face. But when you get most soft stick baits that are salted and hits the bottom, well, it just lies flat like this. That can work, but it's not as effective as when the tail tends to stick up, at least in my experience. So one thing I did as the season went on last year is I went from one company's that's kind of really touting this and decided to use a company's baits that I'm very familiar with and really like to use, Mr. Twister. And what I did is I employed one of their pocket series, the Poc'it Fry. Now the Poc'it Fry is a French fry style bait used in a whole bunch of different applications. Okay, it's 4.5 inches long, so it's actually too long to apply directly because you only want 60% of it, because that piece of plastic is about 2 3/4 inches long. It also has little pockets in it which traps air, which helps it float up and also gives it some enticing action. And it's a great way to, or a great, since it's got those pockets, to get your favorite scent out there, like this JB's Fish Stocks tube sticks, because it helps hold the scent in those pockets. So it's really cool. Mr. Twister and most of their bait plastics lines doesn't use salt. They're not weighted. You just flow them in the water, they float on top. So the Mr. Twister baits tend to float up off the bottom real enticingly straight out of the package. So that's a big time advantage. The other ones you have to tweak in order to get it to do that, or over time as the salt leaches out of it, it'll start to do it. But the Poc'it Fry works right out of the package, so that's pretty cool. One other cool thing about that, since you're only using 60% of the bait, it leaves you a short piece left, right? What are you going to do with that? Well, you can create a shorter version. And when fish are real finicky, this thing can be really deadly, let me tell you. And there's certain situations that I'll talk about later when it is particularly deadly. The other thing I've thought about real seriously over this winter is how I can tweak this bait into some things like I used to use in the past by adding a few things to it, and it'll probably be even more deadly. Be trying that out this year, but I'll tell you more about that later. Okay, so for now, that's the end of this video. We'll get back to you real soon. Tight lines and full live wells. Have a great day.